8:15. And Shelley, would you do the roll, please?
Identification.
And would you do the presentation?
Let's do it. Everybody stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you have given us, and for all those who are present, Lord, we just thank you for their interest and, Lord, for taking care of the Cherokee people. We ask that you give us guidance and direction in this situation. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Shelley, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Curtis Snell,
Here.
Frankie Hargis,
Present.
Bill England,
Here.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Joe Berg, Julia Coates, Jody Fishercock, Meredith Fraley, Janelle Fulbright, Present, Don Garvin,
Honey.
Chuck Huskin Jr., Tina Glory Jordan, Lee Keener, Dick Lay,
Here.
David Thornton, David Walkenstick, Kara Cowan Watts,
Ani.
John Masters. We do have a quorum.
Moving on down to Fran, do you have a presentation you need to do?
Yes,
You want to do it first?
yes.
Okay. Fran, would you introduce all the ones
Yes,
that
I
you brought with you?
I'll introduce the board. We now have a full board of 3. Sean Shepherd, Luann Collins, and myself. And we had an Environmental Protection Commissioner that's with us, Jay Blake Fletcher. The other commissioners are supposed to be here, but maybe they'll be here in a little bit. Those are the folks with me. And you know the environmental folks.
Gene, would you like to introduce you and your Gene and Lynn Daniels?
Well, I'm Keith with ESC Energy. Lynn Daniel Bethel.
Okay.
I would like to introduce Jackie Woodward, right?
Yes.
He's the daily inspector that is at the landfill with me. And he's the person that I had hoped had been here the last presentation that we did with natural resources. That's Jackie.
Okay.
Och se om ni gati. Och till kostnaden. Hur jobbar dina det hur vad det då det nog häsling. Hello everybody. We're back this morning to talk about the landfill. And we're hoping that we have already generated lots of questions. And I know you got a packet that had some information, that had the information that I presented last time. And there's some financial information in there, as well as some other things, if I remember right. What I wanted to do first, we've got pictures we want to show. We have Sean Shepherd, one of the board members, is going to talk about the financials because he's been digging into them. He'll be doing a short presentation, and maybe others, okay? The reason that Luann and I, Mrs. Collins and I, the last time we met with you, the reason we were recommending control closure at that time was because we felt like if the largest tribe in the United States couldn't run a Subtitle D landfill better than what it was being run, that it needed to be shut down. For that reason, that was our recommendation. Today, it's 100% better. In just the few short weeks that we have had a different manager that is there every day to oversee the operation, to be the leader of the men that work out there, there's been 100% turnaround. One of the first things that he did was to ask Jackie Woodward, the inspector that I just introduced. He asked Jackie, what are the main concerns as our inspector, our regulator, that you have? And there were 4 items listed by Jackie. And those 4 items that were the concern of the environmental programs regulators have been complied with. If something happens on a daily basis, which they will, at a landfill, there's always something that will happen. Good things, bad things. If it's bad stuff, we jump on it. We get the guys together and we take care of that issue. If you'll remember before, when I came before you, I had told you my first visit up there, I told the CEO there at that time that what I saw was unacceptable. There was no daily cover. There was little intermediate cover. Trash was showing from the intermediate cover. There was erosion everywhere, which that means rainwater was going through the trash, possibly being leached. It looked horrible. We'll show you pictures now of what it looks like the day before our new manager came on board and what it looks like today.
As you can see in the date here, it's 3/22/2013. These are just, this is just what you see. The pond to the right is our leachate pond. The pond to the, kind of in the center above is the stormwater pond. You can see they're working in the area. You got the compactor and dozer there. A lot of trash exposed. That's cell 4. That'd be the west slope of cell 4. You can kind of look across the top and see a lot of exposed trash, a lot of erosion to the left of the slope there. Trash right in front of you there on the slope that's going down in the southerly direction. Just more erosion. That'll be the bottom and the end of the liner there that you see to the left center of your screen. See that little trench there? That'll be the edge of the liner. Lots of erosion there. Thank you. Lots of erosion on the side slope. Just continue, just a lot, just erosion everywhere. No controlled berms to control the erosion. You know, nothing really in place. This is right as you go beyond the scale house. This is, we have a courtesy dump area. This is just on the other side, just probably south of that courtesy dump by about a couple hundred feet. Starting into this is probably the first part of the line cell that you'd come to. This is you see kind of to the left side of your screen, about the middle of it, you see that little green, the white trim, that's the scale house. Come across the scale house, you come up that road to where the current active face is. That's a trench there that has total erosion, you know, exposed. This is a couple hundred feet of above the previous photo that I just showed you. A lot of erosion, a lot of just not really, the trash is not very well compacted at all there. That was back to the first picture. That's kind of the before. This is pretty much that same view that shows the tie-in, or the liner at the bottom to the left. You see that about the middle left center of your screen. You see that strip of grass? That's the same, but with applied, with the intermediate cover and all the erosion fixed on that slope. More of the same, from the exact same. Jackie's out there on a daily basis, and he takes pictures every day from about the same locations, and he's done a timeline like that for, I'm guessing, for the last 4 or 5 years.
No, well, the daily visits have been going on for about a year now.
Okay. There's the picture that you've seen where all the erosion and all the trash that was exposed there, that's got proper intermediate cover, and all the erosion's corrected there. And you can see that's where you've seen that one picture with all the trash exposed running down the side. That's the slope that you see up in the top, right below the horizon there is the slope that has adequate cover and all the erosion. There was a all down that slope there was erosion exposed everywhere, and that's been repaired and corrected. And there's another shot of it. The scales is just to your left there. You come across that scale and you see that road that's going up. That's how you get to the active daily face. There's another picture showing, you know, the slopes that are corrected. And there's the picture of that one where you've seen all that trash that was everywhere. That's all been corrected and taken care of. And this is a picture of the east side that goes down towards the direction of the stormwater pond that you've seen earlier, where you can see the area to your left, a little above center over to your left, a little dark area. That's where all that other trash was exposed. That's been covered and corrected. You know, so you don't see erosion, trash exposed. This is standing on cell 4, looking directly west. The white tank that you see down there is our leachate tank. That it's connected to a sump, and all the leachate drains into the sump and gets pumped into the tank, and we dispose of it 2 ways right now. One is either by tanker and to the city of Stillwater in their wastewater treatment facility, or we recirculate it on an active cell, on a line cell. It's hard to get a depth and width of that picture, but there's a lot of available airspace right there. And this is back on the back side of the cell. This is looking back east, back at the cell 4. So you're looking directly east there. And there's a little picture, the same shot, just a little further. He moved north probably a couple hundred feet, where you can kind of get an idea of the amount of area that's left. This depicts some of the equipment that we've used. When we first got there was a 30-ton haul truck leased by Caterpillar for $12,000 a month. We returned that. We fixed our own. We're using our own equipment. You know, it's kind of band-aided together, but we are working with it. We cut out Caterpillar's been doing primarily, and that was one of the largest accounts payable that we had was Caterpillar, and we've cut them out probably by about 75% now. We're doing a lot of the work ourselves with the guy that we have on staff that is capable of doing all of our work. With each oil change alone, we're saving over $800 because of the travel that they charge you just to get there. But we're keeping our equipment running. You know, we say a prayer over it every day and do the best we can with it. And so far, we're holding up really good. There's kind of another shot of it. That's one of the things we're repairing right now. We've got a hydraulic drive pump that's out that we should be getting in and put back in today.
If you have any questions, we can answer questions at any point. But we have been working hard out there. Even the board members were actively involved in what's going on at the landfill. The equipment that we have, that we've been using, is the same equipment we've had all along. I think the difference is our manager is there every day. We've got people working there every day to do what's supposed to be done. We have repaired the old trailer that was there and not being totally utilized. It was being eaten up by termites, and there were holes in the floor, the roof was leaking, there were all kinds of problems, but with the help of the natural resources staff and Bruce Davis, that's been repaired, and that's where our staff works out of. The men out there didn't have a restroom, I don't know for how many years, but we now have a restroom for the men at the scale house. What else have we done, Jamie? The break room. They now have a break room where they can go and have lunch breaks or breaks that they take. We provide ice and water to the workers out there. They're dedicated workers. Throughout the years where this place has been run badly, they've stayed with us, and they're doing a great job. They have learned what's supposed to be done and what shouldn't be done, And when we first got out there, they started telling us, well, this was done and it shouldn't have been done that way. So-and-so did this, and we're not supposed to do that. We told them we gotta do it this way. So they've learned what's right and what's not right. We asked for a budget of $1.5 million a year from the council if the council decides to keep the landfill open. We had given you 3 options last meeting to consider. I think with that, I'm going to have Sean come up and talk to you about, we had said $9 million was given by C&E to the landfill in 2009. He's been digging into all those financials and he has more information that we can share with you. So I'll have Sean come up and do that.
A couple little lists to follow along here, if y'all don't mind. I can pass them around the side there. You can kind of follow along as I go over it. Well, just a few months ago, I was right here before y'all being appointed to the board. So in the time that I've been there, I've seen a lot of improvement. At first, the first few days, the first thing I heard, was controlled closure, as they said. And looking at it and digging through the financials and speaking with Jamie and going over everything, I think there's a lot of positive things from the landfill, and I think it can head in a positive place with the right people intact and the support of the administration. But the first thing comes to mind when you say landfill with me and with most people, it's negative. You think of a landfill as a place that causes lots of problems. In reality, each and every one of us in this room goes through 4 to 5 pounds of trash a day. So it's a must for the Cherokee people that we have a place to go with this trash and one thing, so it doesn't end up wildcat dumping or on the sides of the roads or anything like that. The landfill is monitored by the Cherokee Nation Environmental Protection Commission. In meeting with Jackie and some of the meetings, he has said the landfill looks better than it ever has at this time. Like we said, they're out there on a daily basis. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that take place out there that a lot of people don't see, as far as you've seen in some of those pictures. The liners that are there to prevent the leachate and the runoff, the retention ponds that are there to catch the product before it goes on off the property. Things, gas traps to release the methane gas out of the ground. Those are things you usually don't hear, or the people you don't know that's going on every day out there behind the scenes to make sure that we're up to speed and we're doing our part in helping with the environment. In 2008, in researching the financials and kind of how we got to where we are now, the landfill received a capital grant of $4.8 million and an operating transfer from C&B for $10.5 million. The landfill with that money contracted with Southern Industrial Contractors for $9.3 million. At that time, there was a new cell built and I think some other upgrades done to the landfill from what I had understood where the money had went during that time. On paper, according to our financials, we have $6.1 million on paper worth of airspace. So they derive that by putting a value on how much airspace is out there and how much an average per ton is. And as we fill it up, that 6.1 million number comes down with every ton of trash we take on. So like I said, we have 6.1 million still to go in that cell that was constructed back in the 08-09 area. With our current resources, we're taking on an average of about 45 tons a day, which is not very much trash, with an average price of $18.07 a ton. You do the math, that's not very much money worth of trash that we're taking in when we have the capability to do a lot more with the employees that we have, with just a little bit of upgrade in equipment, a few things like that. We can take it to the next level. We need to double or triple that amount to get to a break-even point. On paper, the landfill was losing on average around $50,000 a month, which about $30,000 of that was in depreciation. So, which still was a tax write-off for the depreciation of things, but we still We need to take on more trash to get to that break-even point, and then at least, you know, we're keeping Cherokees employed, providing a service to the Cherokee people of the area and surrounding communities. So with the financial help that we're asking for and the dedication of our employees, the board and this administration, we believe that the landfill can get to a point to where we can sustain ourselves, maybe cut the bleeding where we're not going in negative every month and come out at least at this point, at a break-even point, and go towards a profitable thing for our people. We currently employ 100% Cherokee citizens. Several of these employees have called the landfill home for over 15 years. In talking with the guys and bringing them in on board meetings, it's you know, they want to be there, they want to do the right thing, they're doing an excellent job. Most of those people, just hearing them talk, they know their counterparts better and spend more time with them than their own family. So I mean, it's just a family out there. We've had several Cherokee-owned smaller business trash services that go and get trash from other citizens in that area and bring to the landfill and dispose of it. These Native American business owners have commented that if the landfill were to close, it would be detrimental to their business, and that then they would have to, you know, raise their fees for our citizens or for whoever they pick up trash for to take it an extra 30 or 45 more miles further to dispose of it, maybe in Sallisaw or a different area from that. So not only would that affect their businesses, all the citizens and Cherokee citizens and other citizens that hire a trash service in those areas, you know, could possibly look at an increase in their weekly fee to dispose of their trash. And also, without the landfill, you know, we might get into more wildcat dumping, just putting in the haulers or sides of the roads, you know, due to not having that area there. In my time, you know, they had mentioned controlled closure the day I came on board, so I kind of look in, what is controlled closure? And, you know, to me it just sounds negative, like we're going to close this thing. And from what I have found, you know, every landfill, from the first day you open and the first piece of trash you put on that place, you're in controlled closure, because all the airspace will be tied up at some point. So in essence, everything's coming to controlled closure. So once all the allotted airspace on a landfill has been filled, the landfill will close. There are set protocols from EPC and EPA on how a landfill is to be properly closed. Our landfill has not reached its maximum capacity. As previously stated, we currently have about $6.1 million worth of airspace that's just there sitting ready to dump on to put more trash in. There's also more land for additional airspace if we want to open a new cell in the future like they did back in 2008, 2009. There's more room to open a cell. So we feel with the proper guidance and the support from Cherokee Nation that we can turn these resources into a profitable business while serving the Cherokee people. With that, I think that's our scale dog barking. Someone's going across the scales.
He just went to the landfill.
Anybody have any questions or thoughts, concerns, opinions?
Do the employees at the landfill earn the same wage and benefit package that their counterparts with the nation earn? The same?
And you may can answer that question better than I can.
Are they given the same impact, same benefits?
No, we are actually, because of the LLC, they're under CME.
Okay.
And they're not necessarily under the same wage grades. And I will tell you, those folks up there have been forgotten for a lot of years. I think we researched this, and the last time they had gotten a raise, it was like 40 cents.
And that's the reason, Commissioner, for my question.
Okay.
Is if, I don't know if we should go forward or not, but if we do go forward, we've got to get right with
Well,
those employees on their wage and benefit packages.
Just
If we don't get
last
right-
board meeting, our last board meeting last week, we gave them raises. So whether we decide to close, and we can close in one day, if we decide to close or stay open, we've given them compensation that they deserve and have deserved for a long time.
Thank you. And to clarify, when you say we can't close in one day, we can make the decision to close in one day, but it's a long path
Well,
towards.
we can close the gate
Close the
in one
gate,
day
Right.
and stop accepting trash.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Right. And if we do that, and if we close in one day, like you said, you know, tomorrow we're still maintaining this. You know,
Yes.
5, 10, 15 years,
Well, we've got it for life.
we've got it for life. So, I mean, in a sense, there's still $6 million worth of money to be taken in, or, you know, and possibly more by opening new cells there. But yes, there's still maintenance to go with it, regardless if we close it. So, in a little bit, it's kind of pay now or pay later type deal, and a
Well,
little bit.
it's really pay now,
Yeah.
because we need that money to get new equipment, to repair equipment. We have no backup right now. We've got the equipment that's been there for a number of years, and when it breaks down, it breaks down. We have to wait to get it repaired. There's no backup. Our leachate collection system is supposed to be a backup system to a real system. We've got a backup system for leachate. We need to do something with that. There really needs to be some electricity brought out there so we can do the right thing with our leachate system. There still needs to be gas monitoring wells looked at. We still have one well, Jackie, that is how much percent over LEO?
It's reading 58% this time, and it's supposed to read less than 5%.
Okay, those issues need to be dealt with. Like I told you before, no matter what option you pick, there's going to be lots of money to be spent. The council has to either say, okay, we're married to this place for life, we got to continually give it money. Yes, but with the right type of management out there, and I think we've got it now, because we're watching it very closely, with that management and the workers we have, you're going to see a lot of improvement. You're going to see where we can maybe level out with money, and possibly down the road maybe even make money. It depends on how much trash we take in a day. To level out, I would say 200 to 300 ton a day. 200 ton a day. We can go more than that, but then we'd have to hire people, do different things if we want to make money. You understand that? Are there any financial questions for Sean? I do want to say, the last time we met with you, we thought it was $9 million. It's a lot more that we got from CD. It was a total of how much?
Well, there was a capital grant of, I think, 4.8 million, and C&B transfer at 10.5 million. So it was a little over $15 million total, it looks like, from what I've seen.
Councilman Lay, you got a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How many acres are up there?
Was it 2? How many acres?
160, I believe. I wish Pat was here, he would know for sure.
And
Approximately 160
be a
acres.
payable basis, it's 200 tons a day. How much are you running at?
Only about 50 tons a
About
day.
45 to 50 tons a day is what's being ran through there now.
And to follow Councilman Hoskins' question about, these are C&E employees? Do they have the C&E?
They're under
benefit
our
package?
LLC. They're our employees as the board. That's how it's set up. But the human resources part of it is the same as C&E. They do our financials, HR.
Do they have health insurance and
Yes.
retirement?
Yes.
Yes.
They get annual sick leave, yes.
Councilman Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there's a couple of things. So first of all, have you had an accountant involved in going through the financials? So, and who would that be and what were their findings?
You might can help with that. Like to my understanding, in the short time I've been involved and what I have found, we kind of sub out or hire C&E to help with the resources, the accounting, and I think it was we have an auditor that was, I think, is it BKB or BK?
BKD.
BKB? Okay. Okay,
BKD.
BKD, okay. Okay, so BKD has done the audits. What I had looked at was the financials over the past, the few months, and then they hand us a a book basically that I've read through that says, well, the reason your sales were down because of this and the reason they're up, and mainly it's because we received contracts or lost contracts. Maybe we had a big contract with the city of, let's just for instance say we had a contract with the city of Stillwell, let's say, and then they pulled out. So maybe we noticed a big difference in our financials dropped way down the next month because we didn't have that set thing. So and that's where a lot of it comes from, is the up and down. This comes from us losing contracts or gaining contracts, or at this point not taking on. We're not really going out soliciting business right now because we're not for sure which direction we're going. So we don't want to go, except we have some people that's mentioned, maybe, they've seen the turnaround and seen things coming around and maybe have mentioned that we might want to do business with you, but we're not at the point where we can go out and say, okay, City of Tahlequah, start bringing us your 100 tons a day.
Okay, so back to the financials. You did have a CPA type somewhere.
We have
Review.
Faith Goodrich Lewis. She's loaned to us to help us with the financials, and what she doesn't understand or can't do for us. What was the name of the accountant?
That's up Seth Greer. Is out there who I
At
have met
CD.
with.
Okay, so,
It's Jerry Stubblefield is the accountant, the embassy accountant.
okay, because I don't want to put this on Faith's shoulders either.
Oh, no,
I want to
right,
make
yeah.
sure that, so there is a licensed CPA that's reviewed everything. You've got BKD's audits. BKD's audits is not a forensic audit, is my guess. So you have found no findings that say that there has been any misappropriation of funds or anything like that. You haven't had any, it's just what it is, whether it's
Right.
good business decisions or bad, or that the
Yeah.
economy was down. That's a whole different discussion.
Right.
So as of right now, the finances are being looked at by CPA, and they were named, and tell me the name again,
It's Jerry Stubblefield
Jenny Stubblefield
and Jay Barnett.
and Kim Barnett, okay. So then, so do we have a current cash flow? I'm trying to remember, I think that's in our monthly financials, I need to just go back to that again. But this is kind of a historical idea of influx of dollars. And did you submit this to our secretary, so she has it for the record?
Yes, she got it.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And then, so, if I recall right, it was separated from the nation and from CNB, and it's a separate LLC.
That's,
And that was for liability issues, I believe,
Don't know.
to clearly separate it out. So are we fuzzing, are we blurring the lines by bringing other resources in? Where are we at with that? Because there was a very long discussion before, I don't know, anybody that was on the council before, about keeping everything separate. So I'm guessing, what does that do to the LLC structure? I don't know who can answer this. When we start bringing things in, I just want to make sure that we're making,
What things are you talking about?
when you start using CNE, CNB resources
No,
that
because
may.
we
We
paid them
paid
to
them.
do that.
Okay,
so
We-
they're just a
the LL
subcontractor.
The
to us.
LLC pays them for financials, HR, what else?
They're being paid for HR services, payroll, and
Financial.
financials.
very good. Thank
Right.
you.
Mhm.
Okay, so one last question, at least on this aspect of it. So on the employee pay, and I'm not saying that they have not been adequately I don't know, 'cause I
Right.
don't see those. But we are meeting our minimum wage requirements, right? Because you're an entity of the Cherokee Nation, so to speak. So you were, at least, everybody was making Cherokee Nation's minimum wage.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I
Thank
would
you.
like to add something that Sean said. We are not marketing for the reason that Sean said, because we don't know if we could give them a 6-month contract, a year contract, or whatever. But we are getting phone calls from people that want to bring their trash to our landfill. And they say that because they have, by the Indian Moccasin, have heard that we have new management, that the landfill looks 100% better, that they won't be driving into trash every time they bring their loads and messing up their tires and messing up their vehicles. That's why some of them pulled out. They didn't want to go there anymore because it wasn't being run the way that it should be, and they were messing up their tires and vehicles.
Frankie,
That was gonna be my point. Having attended the board meetings, and sorry, I wasn't there Thursday, but I was at Intertribal. We do have companies that are interested in coming. We just can't offer them a contract, so we're not able to, we don't have any idea even how much we could bring in, right?
Well, right now, what we've gathered so far, and remember, we've only been out there since March. And that's Luann and I. But what we've gathered is, we've got maybe a year in what we're working with now, in the cell that we're working with now. So beyond that, we need to get a permit to open up other cells. Is that right, Jackie? Tom says that's right. So, to move forward, we need your direction so that a decision can be made whether we want to spend that 6-point-something million airspace and fill it up with trash or what. But right now, if no decision is made, we have a year or less of airspace.
But we won't, if we decide to do the closure or whatever, we won't take on any contracts, correct?
Right. Would that be, I guess that'd be safe to
If we
say.
decide to just fill up the airspace we have permitted now, probably correct.
Because, for instance, like, let's say the city of Tahlequah or something, they're not gonna leave Muskogee to come to us for 3 or 6 months and possibly burn a bridge or run a relationship to come to us. They're probably, and I can't speak for them, but I would say they'd be looking at a couple of year contract to make a decision to come to us. So it's not gonna be they redirect and come to us for 3 months and then we call them and say, hey, sorry guys, we can't take the trash anymore. Because, that would pose a lot of problems for them.
Okay, are our rates equal to, less than other landfills? Have we checked that, or?
You saying Jamie can answer that?
I'd say our rates are just a little lower because we're so rural. We have to, the city of Tulsa has 5 landfills, Tawnytown, Salisal, Fort Smith. So as rural as we are, we have to, you have to pay something to get them to come to you. Yeah, so we're a little lower, but that's, that's, when you look at time is money, fuel, with fuel being $3.50, those trucks get 4 miles to the gallon. It gets, so you've got to get them, there's got to be something. But still, when I say a little lower, we're still right, our average right now is around $20 to $21 a ton, which is really good for Oklahoma, Northeast Oklahoma. Northeast Oklahoma and Tulsa have the lowest waste disposal rates in the country.
Okay, so if we decided to keep this open, do you think you could get the contracts to bring us up to that 200 or 300 tons a
Yeah,
day?
City of Tahlequah is 60 to 70 tons a day. Cherokee County solid waste is 30 tons a day. Delaware County is 130 tons a day. Solomon Springs is about 75 to 80 tons a day. So adding those up, you could get there pretty quick. And with being in the Cherokee 14 county area, you have some pretty good marketing available to you to get all of those people that I just mentioned. Plus the fact that we spoke earlier, 150 to 200 a day with the way we're operating right now will break us even. 300 tons to 400 tons a day is going to net you out about $60,000 a month profit. You jump up to about 500, which it would be, just speaking here, 500 tons or less a day would be the maximum that you'd want to bring in, because when you start bringing in much over 500 tons a day, it's hard for one crew and one set of equipment to properly compact it, because you're talking about available airspace. How much trash can you put in one little area? If you're having to pay $100 to dispose of a trash can full of trash, you're not just going to throw it in there and walk away from it. You're going to put it and you're going to push it just as far down as you can. Well, that's kind of us. The more we can compact trash into 1 cubic foot of space, the more profitable we are. So that's kind of the way you look at it. And proper compaction, not too much cover, too much or not enough, keeping your slopes within a 4 to 1, keeping erosion down. You can maintain that 400 to 500 tons a day with one crew that we have fairly easily.
And there's other areas that we've talked about we haven't even began to touch upon and stuff, but there's also a lot of recycling avenues to go down. I think Jamie was saying maybe 30 to 40% of the trash we get could be recycled. So there's a possibility where we had just briefly talked about dumping the trash in a certain area, having employees sort through it, and then, you know, the 40% of it, we can sell right back to someone else and compact it and put it on a truck and send it to Tulsa and sell it. So that would, you know, give us a longer period at the landfill and get money back, possibly employ more Cherokees to sort through those products. And there's, you know, there's new technology coming, the plasma arc gasification. I mean, there's things like that that in the future might as well help with that product. So there's a lot of ways to go, a lot of directions to go. It's just, we just kind of need some guidance and some funding and figure out which direction we go with this.
One thing that we haven't mentioned, and I know this kind of sounds like we're coming at you with a hodgepodge of things. That's how we were bombarded. But one thing we haven't mentioned, during the years of ICI, one of the cells, and I think it's cell 2, cell 3, is way too high. That's cell 2. It's way too high. They were allowed to just keep building a mountain there. We should be at least at a 3-to-1, Jackie, on that slope, or a 4-to-1. We should be at a 4-to-1. So that means taking the top off of that mountain. That means taking that trash and putting it somewhere to be in compliance. There are a lot of issues that were done wrong that need to be done right. Yeah, we're a sovereign nation, we could probably leave it. I don't know. But the board, speaking for myself, I want things done right out there. And that's one thing that we have to do, in my mind, is take that trash off of that mountain and put it someplace.
We need to stay brief. We got another presentation here. We need to get on here by 9 o'clock.
Okay, one last thing. In your handout that you got, we talk about a comprehensive plan for the Cherokee Nation Waste Management. Cherokee Nation Waste Management right now is the landfill. Sean talked to you a little bit about recycling, which is another part of waste management. The Environmental Protection Commission is another part of waste management. The tribe, again, being the largest tribe in the United States, we should be able to do this. Come up with a comprehensive plan for all of our waste, from our clinics, our hospital, our housing authority. All of those sites that we have, at least start there with recycling. I asked the commissioners to come today, and only one has come. Oh, Ed, okay, there's Ed Fight. He's another commissioner. Because when I met with them last month for the first time, we were ready to do a presentation to the commissioners. I asked them, and you guys jump in here. I asked them, why didn't y'all do something when you knew the landfill was so bad? Why didn't you bring the hammer down? Because that's what was asked of me. Why don't y'all bring the hammer down? The landfill's not being run right. And they said, we tried. We tried. And we haven't been successful. They were very concerned for a long time. They brought these issues up at their meeting for a long time. But they don't have the authority, like the LLC does, to stop something or to shut it down or whatever. They need that authority. They are our Environmental Protection Commission. And these gentlemen are we should be honored to have them as our commissioners. They're very knowledgeable. They're very concerned. They know their fields. Yet they don't have a voice. We have a voice. We've come twice now. And we're honored to do that. I understand that the landfill board never came before the council. Well, you need to hear our voices as your board, as your commissioners. And they were desperately trying to get things done and couldn't. To have a comprehensive waste management plan includes all of us. And the Cherokee Nation has never had that. If you want a feather in your cap, that's what you need to do. To start with, we've got to have dollars to continue the work that we're doing at the landfill. Is there anything from anyone else? Ed? Blake? No? Luann? If there's no further questions,
Don Garber's got a question. No, we need to keep it brief, but I'll be brief. Does Stillwell have a landfill?
no,
City of Stillwell?
no, they do not.
Why they don't?
Because the Cherokee Nation started that dump site on our trust land. There was a decision made by the tribe and the city of Stillwell, because they had a little dump that they called the city dump back in 1994. The EPA was trying to close all of the small city dumps. They chose the right path and closed theirs. In your packet, it talks about there were 3 of us that tried to talk our chief into closing the dump at the trust land. Me, Pat Gwynn, and David Mullen went to the chief and said, there's going to be a lot of regulations come with this. We should not keep it open. We need to close it.
Where does City of Stillwell take their trash?
Where do they take it now, Jamie? Okay, they bring it to us.
A young contract, and how much money is coming in off of that?
About 18,000 a month. Open.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In my thought, she decided to keep it open, and that's where we are today.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Anybody else?
Brief.
So, Mr. Chairman, I guess I was confused. I thought the meetings, I thought the meeting was about the landfill and whether or not we should close it. So I thought we would have more time with all the folks that showed up today.
I do too.
So I have a lot more questions and I'm unclear. I'm looking to you for guidance about how we're supposed to move forward, because I thought a decision was going to be made today. Are we going to table today and have another meeting, or is there no decision?
We got another presentation here that concerns the landfill.
Okay, so, but they're asking, what I hear them is that they're asking for help too, if we keep it open, that they're needing financial help, but I don't feel like I have enough information to move forward. I'm trying to figure out where we're at and where we're going. Could you help me understand that?
Fran, when do you need this decision? Immediately?
Yes.
Immediately as in today, or do we have 30 days, or how long can y'all operate if we were to take another month?
Another month?
Well, apparently, yes. I mean, I don't know. Tomorrow. I'm not sure the exact question, personally.
Never mind.
Okay.
Probably another month.
So, previously you recommended a controlled closure. Is that still your recommendation, or have you, with the information you've gathered, or have you changed that recommendation?
Personally, as a board member, I think we need to keep it open if the right management is there. That's why in your packet, there's a statement in there where I say, this should not be politicized. In other words, we've got to make this a continually positive operating landfill. When administration changed, you all know what happens. And that's why I'm saying we should not politicize this. You might want to think about putting these decisions you make into law. Maybe that would stand better. I don't know.
What we might do is table this for 1 month and go over your documents you sent today then maybe we'll be ready for a decision.
As far as Counselor Watts' questions, can she email you? Can she come to the landfill and visit with y'all? And-
Oh, we highly recommend that each and every one of you come.
Carrie, is that something that you could do through email, or the questions that you have, or?
Yeah, but I still think that, I mean, may I guess, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I appreciate that offer, and I'm happy to do that, but I still think this is a very public entity. It impacts a large number of communities, even through Delaware counties, the feedback I've gotten. We don't have all our representatives from the area that is immediately impacted here, which concerns me because I really was looking to those colleagues to be here to talk more about it, so I'm glad, Frankie and Curtis, that you're here. I don't feel like we're having a transparent meeting if we're not up in front asking these questions and making sure that the citizens have input too before we do anything.
Well, and
Yeah, we thought we'd have 2 hours.
that was a question I wanted to ask too, is, have you, considered having a community meeting there, just, I know like at CC Camp, you know, just down the
Thank you
hill?
for reminding me about that. We talked at a board meeting about whatever decision is made, what we want to do is sponsor a community meeting with a meal at the CC Camp, which is right down below the landfill, and invite all the community members that are impacted by the landfill and answer their questions, because they have legitimate concerns about cancer, about polluted water, all kinds of issues that hopefully we can make them feel at ease about, feel better about. We'll be asking Jackie and Tom to be there so that they can look at the reports from the chemicals that they,
Well,
test.
Personally, I would like to have that meeting before we make a decision, to you know, get
Okay.
the community's feedback on that. I mean, I know the people I've talked to, but just for public record, I'd like to have that meeting before we make a decision.
Yes, Kara?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really feel like from a governance perspective that would either be the responsibility of the board of directors, but maybe even more so the Environmental Protection Commission of the Cherokee Nation, in terms of public input and governance. I think that needs to be decided before we move forward, because it's for the long-term impact on government and not politicizing it. Is that really ours, or is that the EPC's, who's an independent body, to determine whether or not, you know, or is it the
Well,
boards?
The,
So maybe the AG's
the
office needs
Cherokee,
to decide
the
that?
Cherokee Nation is the sole owner of this place. You are the legislators of the Cherokee Nation. But if you want a attorney general opinion, I mean, that's your prerogative.
Thank you, Commissioner Bites, wanted to have a word.
How is everyone this morning? Great to see all of you. I won't belabor this very long, but the Cherokee Nation Environmental Protection Commission is very interested in the landfill. We have been for years. We've levied a fine in the past, as you recall, that made us very unpopular during the ICI days and so forth. After our most recent meeting, Fan Robinson threw together an impromptu meeting on our behalf with the chief and with his staff, and we talked about the environmental issues from 30,000 feet, particularly related to the landfill. And I'm hopeful that the administration now understands that we need to go back and, simple term, de-wrong the Environmental Protection Commission statutes. And we're working with Bruce Davis and others to begin that process, to take a comprehensive review of what it is that we operate under at the EPC. With that set aside, the landfill is still an issue that relates to the entire Cherokee Nation. We missed our opportunity when we didn't close the landfill before Subtitle D requirements kicked in. So what I'm telling you is that anybody that's a member of the Cherokee Nation is liable for the landfill. We can shut it down today by closing the gate, but that isn't going to mitigate our responsibilities where we're going to have to go in there and get that landfill back to closure standards that are required. And as Fan said, and I'll reiterate, as a member of the Cherokee Nation, we should be at least 1% better than everybody else when it comes to running landfills. We don't need to get in a rush, we just need to figure out where we're going and where we want to be. Now, there are opportunities to get contracts to bring waste to the landfill, but it's been up and down whether the landfill is going to be open or closed. There hasn't been any resolution, any sound footprint for the public to judge what we want to do with that landfill. So a lot of the people that are looking for long-term solutions like Silent Springs and others for disposal of their solid waste for their communities have diverted that trash stream to other facilities because they couldn't rely on us. So we're going to be having, not only with the Solid Waste Authority, but with the EPC, we're going to be back before you several times, I think, in the next year or so. And I just ask you to keep an open mind because we want to do what's right for the Cherokee people and certainly what's right for the state of Oklahoma and our environment. So any questions for me? Our chairman is not here today, Dr. Mark Matlock. I would prefer that he would get up and speak. Our director, Tom Elkins, is here, and Sarah Hill from the Attorney General's office, who does the lion's share of our workforce. DPC is here also, if you have questions. But if not, I will sit down and let you get on to your other business, and thank you. Wish you a good day.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to table this discussion for 1 month, at which time, provided there's a sponsor, we have a resolution to prepare to, at least to debate, to continue the landfill or close the landfill and to provide the appropriate financial resources it needs to continue or to close. And we do that in a month's time.
A second.
Could I just ask one question for that? I know but if this would be possible, Chairperson. The 45 tons, we don't hear anybody else in there if I do it. The 45 tons that's coming in daily to the landfill, is that just local trash now? Look, right around from Stillwell?
Westville, Stillwell, those are the two biggest municipalities. The rest is like your local independent haulers from the rural areas around us.
And we don't necessarily have contracts with them?
No.
They just, they pay a tipping fee and what's our average take down there on that 45 tons of trash?
Tipping fee?
Yes.
About 20 to 21.
So our daily rate is less than, what, $1,000?
That was from our June. The number that I show on there, 1807, actually came from June's average.
Okay.
There may be different averages on trash. Shamie was just saying $20 to $21. It just depends on who brings that trash in, because I think the city, maybe the city of Stillwell's trash is brought in at a better rate than, since they're doing more of a volume type deal. So maybe during that month we've got more of the, say, city of Stillwell's trash versus independent, like you or I hauling out there and paying the $21, $22.
Well, a lot what brings that down at $1 or $2 a ton is your cash customers. A lot of the homeowners, when they'll come through and pay $6 a load, that gets weighed per ton, because the minimum that we have there is a $6 load. So if you have a bunch of those over a month, with spring cleaning, summer nice hours, you get a lot of cash customers. And then you get your municipalities that'll bring in 14 to 18 tons a load. So as long as you have that, your ticket fee will stay up there, but you get a lot of those cash customers. That kind of drives that average down a little bit.
And right now, that's less than $1,000 a day, isn't it?
Yes.
In revenue. And we're not letting anybody come in after dark.
No.
We're locking the gates.
Yeah. We shut the gates at 3:30.
And we know what type of trash is being brought in.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Gary, you have a real brief?
I have a clarification on the motion to table. Is that to another special resources meeting, or is that to the regular agenda of special resources?
Mr. Chairman, it was to a regular meeting, unless the
In a
chairman.
regular meeting?
Okay.
And that's what,
I would say, or to any special meeting that the chair may call.
As of now, we hadn't called a special meeting, but we can,
Regular meeting?
regular meeting, we can make a special meeting. Can we, Shane?
Do whatever you want.
We'll do a special,
Given the lack of attendance this morning, I'm hoping it's a regular resources meeting.
In a month's time, we'll have a regular one anyway, Mr. Chairman. That's,
Yes.
of course, my recommendation.
we had a motion to table, we'll hear a second.
Aye.
And we'll table for 1 month.
To the August
Be ready to call this
regular meeting.
It'd be August 12th.
Well,
And what time is your meeting, Carter?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. August 12th at 4.
August the 12th.
At 4 o'clock.
All in favor?
Did you take a vote?
Yes. Do I have a second on the table?
We have a
Yes, sir.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a table for 1 month. And Fran, you get everything down for a month from today? Or I'll be on the 12th next month.
I got you.
Okay, and Jamie, if anybody wants to come out, they just need to contact you and you can show them around or whatever, answer any questions.
And go out and talk to the men yourself. They will tell you what they have seen and heard and done, and be honest with you.
And I would recommend that. It gives you a chance to put your eyes on what's there. Pictures are okay, but when you're actually there, you can walk around and see. You can look from cell 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. You can actually kind of get a little history from the guys that've been out there, since then.
See the mountain that's gotta be torn down.
We're table for 1 month.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Mr. James Flynn from Bechtel Energies. Gene, I don't know whether you got enough time, I hope you do.
I'll keep my part short and sweet here. Hello, good morning, my name is Gene Flynn, I'm the president of ESA Energy. We've been working with y'all over the past couple of years on a waste energy plant. And a couple we've been out to some of our plants out in California. And we have teamed with Lynn Daniel with Bethel Energy. And we'd like to have him get up and explain the process for a plasma technology plant for landfill. Okay? Lynn?
Okay. If you'll bear with me just a second, I need to get my technical support up here. Oh, this is coming up, I'll introduce myself. Good morning. I'm Lynn Daniel, CEO of Bethel Energy. Bethel Energy has had a long history of environmental stewardship. I was honored to design and build the world's first commercial solar power plant in 1983. And we took a technology that had existed since 1901, the parabolic dish, and combined it with a Rankine cycle steam plant, which has been around since 1850. And we came up with Walla, a new revolutionary solar plant that was built in 1983. It was dedicated by Donald Hodel, the Secretary of Energy for Reagan, in 1984. It's been running since then. We built 9 more after that, and have built, I was credited in 1990 with building 90% of the world's solar power. I was awarded Outstanding Young Man of America in 1987 for building the world's first commercial solar power plant. And in 1988, George Bush, which was Vice President of the United States, on the lawn of the White House gave me the Outstanding American Society of Mechanical Engineers in 1988. So we have a long history of environmental success. And we're here to talk to you today. You're talking about a problem here today. The problem is your garbage. And it's not a problem that you share alone. Every major city, every major municipality has the same problem. Some of your local municipalities have passed that problem on to you. And the problem of it is, in our handling of municipal solid waste, we haven't evolved very far. If you think about the caveman, he trashed up his cave, took his trash, took it outside his cave, dug a hole and buried it. We're kind of doing the same thing today. The only thing we've done is add a few trash cans and a truck and a bulldozer and something to cover it up. But the technology in handling municipal solid waste has not went very much farther than the caveman. And therein lies the problem, because it's just been too easy, too simple, and too cheap to take our garbage and bury it. But just like any other problem that you bury, it doesn't always stay buried and it comes back to haunt you. And municipalities are having this problem all over the country. And we're here to talk to you today about a better way. You know, we've presented this back a little bit ago, but like everything, it's evolving, and I want to talk to you about some of the things that's changed since I talked to you last. Let me get my presentation up here. And we're going to talk to you about a way, he talked about pay me now or pay me later. I'm going to change this slogan from not pay me now or pay me later, but get paid now or get paid later. Okay, let's talk about that. That's the way we ought to handle our municipal waste, is not pay me now or pay me later. It's get paid now or get paid later. Our municipal solid waste are a relative gold mine for recycling. He talked about recycling at 20 or 30%. I want to talk to you about recycling at 100%. 100%. Let's not throw away, let's not waste, let's not bury it. And as a society, we've been throwing away and burying our resources, and now they're becoming shorter, they're becoming expensive. You know, we're fighting wars over oil. There's been wars fought for the last 100 years over oil. You know, the Nazis fought it over trying to get to the oil fields of Eastern Europe. And what we're going to talk to you about today was developed by the Nazis to solve that problem. As soon as I can get this thing to come up here. There we go. Okay, now. We want to talk to you about a better way, and this is it.
No, we don't have a quorum in the room. No, it's illegal because it's in corporation. No, it relates to land. But we don't have a quorum.
You're not going to stay and hear the solution to all the problems you have?
Politicians should be making business decisions.
Okay. Okay, again, I introduced myself as Bethel Energy. I start this presentation with municipal solid waste trash cans. That's a problem. And a couple of things that we need is we need power. You can see the electrical lines there. And we need fuel. And there's a way to turn that problem into power and fuel. And that's by 100% recycling. The solution is, it's an elementary recycling. If we take our trash and we heat it with plasma torches to 5,000 degrees, we don't burn it, you know. Burning takes place at 1,200 degrees. Gasification takes place at 5,000. It's not burning because we don't have any oxygen in our gasification. We put in argon gas to not allow any burning. Whenever you burn trash, you take the carbon in that trash and you combine it with oxygen and you get carbon dioxide. Every time you turn on your news, you hear about global warming and carbon dioxide. Everybody not heard that? Anybody living in the cave? So, you know, you hear about carbon dioxide and global warming everywhere you go. Now, if you can take your trash and you can heat it up to 5,000 degrees in an argon atmosphere, there's no oxygen. So what happens? The carbon comes off, but no oxygen. So no CO2, no carbon dioxide. You know, I've been credited with taking more carbon dioxide out of the environment than any man.
Just talk to the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been, the audience is bigger here. Thank you, that's okay.
This is the group that makes the
I'm sorry.
decisions.
I've been credited with taking more oxygen out of the environment than any man alive with my solar plants, because the solar plants have reduced carbon by making power without burning coal or without burning gas. And with 500 megawatts running for 30 years, I've probably taken more carbon out of the atmosphere. Plus, we've put in gas compressors at Bethel and took diesel engines and turned them into natural gas, so we've reduced carbon there. So I probably spent my entire career reducing carbon in the air. But here we have a way to capture that carbon without the oxygen in the argon atmosphere. We have a way to capture that carbon and turn it into what we need badly, and that's fuel. You know, because carbon is the basic building block for fuel. Okay? So what we're talking about here is 100% recycling, making synthetic fuel. If you look at synthetic diesel, the formula for synthetic diesel is 13 carbons. So we got our carbons now, they didn't go to the air. And 24 hydrogens. And hydrogen is all around us. In water, H2O. So, and 24 hydrogens, and we can make synthetic fuel. And we can make no sulfur. It says they're low sulfur fuel, but we can make no sulfur diesel fuel, which the world's in big demand because the trucks on the road, you know, the diesel trucks are 30% of the pollution, air pollution, and they're 2% of the traffic. So there's a real problem with diesel engines. So if we make no sulfur diesel, we solve that problem. Here on the next slide, we're talking about MSW, and I'm going to put my glasses on to read this to you. It says, MSW to liquid fuels. In the United States, current environmental protection regulations require that landfills design isolated waste from incoming rainwater as well as collect and treat water produced by the waste mass prior to its release into the environment. In addition, federal regulations require monitoring and maintenance of the landfill, we've been talking about that today, for a minimum of 30 years following closure. Unfortunately, these precautions are absent in a large number of developing countries and cannot be completely prevent environmental contamination. Landfills present a clear and present potential threat to human health as well as our environment. Plasmification combined with our advanced Fischer-Tropsch refining process can convert undesirable landfill waste into diesel and other transportation fuels that are in high demand. Unlike biodiesel, which needs to be blended with fossil fuels prior to its use, our technology produces fuels that are ready for the pump. The diesel fuel meets D975 specifications and can go straight into the tank. It exceeds ultra low sulfur diesel as defined by the EPA. There's a tremendous advantage to being able to separate the waste disposal process from the fuel control process. Since MSW compositions are somewhat unpredictable, it's almost impossible to have a ready, reliable, consistent off-gas composition, which is necessary for successful fuel conversion. But by bifurcating the two processes, it allows a greater control of the syngas, so we get a consistent hydrocarbon gas that comes into liquid fuel. A byproduct of producing this liquid fuel, because we're dealing with 5,000 degree temperatures, you can take that hot gas as it leaves the unit, run it through a waste heat recovery unit, and produce steam. Whenever we produce steam, we've got free electricity. So we can produce steam from the hot gases for almost no cost, just the equipment of the waste heat recovery unit and the turbine to produce it. Another big advantage. We also produce water. For every gallon of 13 carbons and 24 hydrogens we get 2 gallons of H2O, water. So we're producing clean, pure water. This is all out of stuff that's causing you guys currently a problem. This is how it works. The biomass, you can see there to the left, enters into a chamber. That chamber has 2 plasma arc torches. Those are 3/4 of a kilowatt each, so that's 3/4 of a megawatt. So that's 2 1/4 megawatts of electricity that heats that waste. That waste gasifies, the solid flows out the bottom and can be separated by its molecular weight and recycled. You can sell the aluminum, the tin, the iron, the gold, 100% recycled. And the hot gases, the hydrogen and carbons travel off, and those hot gases can be used to run the steam, the electricity up there at the top, heat the water, and then those gases go through a couple of cleaning processes. And there on the far left, the blue and the gold, is our Fischer-Tropsch process. Fischer-Tropsch is not magic. Fischer and Tropsch were Nazi scientists that invented a way to make liquid fuels from coal in between World War I and World War II. So Germany had liquid fuels because they had plenty of coal and no fuel. Get rid of that warning there. Computers do their own thing. So Fischer-Tropsch's been around since 1925. And Fischer-Tropsch, we get our water and our synthetic fuel from Fischer-Tropsch. The Rankine cycle steam plant to make the electricity has been around since the 1800s. Plasmification has been around since the late 80s. So all these technologies, we're bringing again 3 technologies together to make a world-class plant. There's the 3 plasma arc torches that vaporize the feedstock to 5,000 degrees and the solids go off the bottom. There's the steam turbine that makes the electricity, 50 megawatts, 500 tons of feedstock a day to make 50 megawatts. There's the gas cleaning, the wet scrubbers that takes the particulate out of it to clean up the gas before it goes into the Fischer-Tropsch. There's the Fischer-Tropsch process that I just told you has been around since the 1920s. And it has the argon-filled chamber and the catalyst that makes the fuel in the water. And there's other places in the world that have done this. Unfortunately for us, America, I have 1 unit under construction in Imperial County. It's a 1,000-ton-a-day unit. It's just coming out of the ground. There's a 10-ton unit in California that's been working for about 1.5 years. Some of you folks, I think, in here saw that unit. There's another one being built next to it. It's a very successful unit, so they're building another one. There's 2 of those in California. And mine under construction. I had some of your brothers and sisters in my office. I had the CEO of the Morongo Band of Mission Indians in my office on Wednesday. We have signed a letter of intent with them, and they've given us, and he had his banker, Matt Eden, Sovereign Nation Bank, in my offices on Wednesday, and we signed a letter of intent with them. They've given us a 100-acre site, and we're beginning their first unit on 10 acres. They want to do 10 of them, and we're beginning that process. We're putting finances together for that project, and they're moving forward. And they're getting into the waste business. You folks are talking about getting out. They're wanting to get in, and the reason they want to get in, if you're familiar with their reservation, it's on Highway 10 out by Banning, California, and they have a railroad that goes through there, and every day there's tons and tons of garbage going down that railroad to Imperial County to Mesquite Mine, and they're filling up Mesquite Mine at $65 a ton tipping fees. And they've been trying to get the Morongo Indians to cut their trip in half and fill up one of their canyons. Well, now Morongo's not going to fill up one of their canyons and bring on a problem like you folks are talking about. They're going to gasify that garbage, and they're going to make fuel, and they're going to make recyclables, and they're getting into the business. So we're moving forward with them as Bethel Energy, as their partner. So we're partnered with them, and that's happened since I talked to you folks. Kind of a spinoff of talking to you was talking to them. So here's what a unit would look like. There's a typical unit. It takes 6 to 10 acres. It has on the right there the dumping facilities for the trucks. You can see 4 trucks. Let me take my pointer and point. See, there's a truck, and there's a truck, there's a truck, and there's a truck. They dump their load of garbage there, 25 tons a truck. We push it into the building, which you can see right here, the square building. And we pick it up with an overhead crane, dump it into these grinders. It's ground. It's taken over here on a drag train conveyor and taken around to 4 feeders. You can see the 4 feeders there. Those 4 feeders feed into these 2 crucibles. Those crucibles heated up to 5,000 degrees. We gasify it in an argon atmosphere. Again, no off gases. Those gases are clean. We hit it again here, the gases with a, I don't know. Gotta be careful here. There. We hit it with another torch and take the particulate out of it, take it through filters right here, clean it up, run 2 gas turbines. Boy, it keeps on the chain on me. Run 2 gas turbines there, make electricity at 30 megawatts to run the unit and sell some. We also make electricity up here in a combustion engine and make electricity there. And then our Fisher trope is down here. We run it through this catalyst and these reactors, and we store water in those 4 tanks and diesel in those 2 tanks. I apologize for this thing being so touchy. And then our control room's up here in the corner. Control room up there, and we sell electricity down that line here to our, and there's what it looks like. There's an elevation. There's the covered unit for handling the trash where we push it in, the conveyor. The gasification process is in the middle. The waste heat recovery unit there to the left, and then the control room and the cooling tower. So that's what a plant would look like. That's very similar to what you would have here. And then here's the benefits. 0 emissions, no burning, no incineration or waste. We produce ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. We produce high quality diesel plus utility grade electricity plus water, plus marketable byproducts, metals, gases, liquids, etc. We only use 10 acres. It's a responsible use of the feedstock. It's 100% recycling and making money rather than spending money. We produce renewable energy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's no radiation or harmful processes. We separate the waste disposal process from the fuel conversion process, and we produce ready to go to the pump biodiesel. And we can do all of that for, we've got permits to do that, and that's the 2 units, the 10 ton and the other 10 ton that's being built. There's my permit to build my unit in Imperial County. And here's what we're talking about financially. A plant to do 50 megawatts would cost you just under $150 million. Sounds like a lot of money, but in today's market, if you borrow all that money at 5%, you're talking about $11 million annual payback. That's what you have to pay the loan, $11 million a year. And so keep that in mind. And it actually costs us $11 million to run it. So we need to make $22 million on our unit to break even. Okay, to pay our debt, completely borrowed, and to completely borrowed debt and our $11 million to operate. So if you look at that number, if you drop down, that's $3 per watt. The plant operates, it makes 371,000 megawatt hours a year. If you take the annual power revenue, if you take that 371,000 megawatt hours and you times it by $56 a megawatt, for those that are in the energy business, that's 5.6 cents a kilowatt, okay? 5.6 cents a kilowatt. You make $21 million. We covered our debt right there, our debt and our operations, with just the electricity, $21 million. The average annual revenue for the RECs, the renewable energy credits, those are credits for the electricity, and we get $1 a gallon for every gallon of fuel that we produce, federal tax incentive. If you take all of those, that's another $18 million a year. If you take the byproducts, which are the fuel, and these byproducts, by the way, are based on my plant, which is only using wood. The byproducts would be a lot higher with rubbers and plastics and all the petrol that you get in MSW. I use $28.8 million in byproducts. That's $20 million in fuel and $8 million in metals. Actually, for an MSW plant here, you could probably up the $20 million in fuels to $30 million and the metals to 10 or 15 million. So I'm being very conservative. And then the tipping fees for 1,000 tons a day, 187,000 tons a year at $15 a ton, you can see it over there to the right, is $5 million. That's a total annual revenue of $73 million with an operating cost of $11 million. You're making $62 million a year, and your debt's going to be about $11 million of that. So you're walking away with $51 million in your pocket. This is on something that's currently causing you a problem. It's currently causing you financial resources. When I talked to Roger Mayer, the CEO of the Morongo Indian Nation, he said they were interested in partnering with us because they've seen their casino revenues fall in half in the last 5 or 6 years. They're down to half what they were, and they need another source of income. And they see this as a potential great source of income, even better, becoming larger after we build 10 plants than their gaming revenue. And it's environmental. We're being environmentally sound, good stewards of our environment. We're taking something that society is causing society a problem, and we're recycling it and turning it into a positive. If you'll bear with me just a minute, I want to show you, these units are working in Europe. Right now there's a unit, if I can switch here for just a minute and put on an internet video. I have a sister company that is doing this in Europe. Unfortunately for us, Europe's ahead of us. In America, we have too much land and we have too cheap of resources. So we do things the wrong way. Because Europe don't have the land for landfills, they're doing gasification. There's a Zelwick unit that's very similar to the unit that we're talking to you about today that I just showed you. It's been operating since 2003. Gasifying, it can gasify up to 1,000 tons a day. It's a military base for the U.S. government. So they're gasifying medical waste, so they really only end up doing a few hundred tons every couple of weeks because as it builds up. But it has the potential to do 1,000 tons a day. It's just like our unit. There's a unit being built at Heathrow Airport in London. It's going to take London's garbage, turn it into high-grade jet fuel for the jets. There's a unit being done in Melbourne, Australia for Qantas to do the same thing, to take Melbourne's trash, turn it into high-grade, low-sulfur diesel for Qantas Airlines. And there's one being done in Switzerland for Lufthansa. So this is something that's being done around the world, and it would be nice for the Cherokees to jump on board here and become part of the cutting edge of bringing an environmentally sound way of taking a resource that's causing you a problem, putting you in a negative cash flow, and make it something positive, maybe even more positive than your current gaming. And it's definitely more socially acceptable. Let me play if I can get it on here. I've got a tether. You don't have internet direct here that I can tap into, do you? I'm going to tether through my phone. So bear with me just a moment. That's on tether, I need to get this on tether. I apologize for a little downtime here. Any questions while I'm tethering this?
I'd like to jump in for a minute if I can.
Sure, go ahead, Jim.
A good portion of the waste that we're talking about utilizing, we're hoping to get about 500 tons a day. And 300 tons a day can be used by trash coming in, but the other 200 tons a day can be utilized by mining the existing material and getting rid of the material that you have in the landfill already.
Yes,
I will say, I don't have a question or anything, and I don't have any, you know, I think this is an interesting proposition and so forth, but what I will say is that the counselor who left the room is correct. This is a presentation that properly should be made to the C&B board, I think. This is not the body that is going to make what is essentially a business decision here. So although I think there's interest and so forth, I'm concerned that maybe we're wasting these gentlemen's time, you know, in that they're sort of speaking to the wrong entity here, that perhaps the C&B board would be the more appropriate, because this is not a decision. We don't make the business decisions in this entity, and so this is not a decision that we would make anyway.
well, they're simply they're simply giving their presentation today.
Yeah, I understand, and that's fine and so forth, but I'm, you know, I know that there are a lot of people who are not here, and I know that's probably disconcerting to these gentlemen. But this is perhaps the reason, is because we are not the body that's going to make this decision, that would make this decision. And so I think that our concern is perhaps for these gentlemen and their time, that they're going to really need to do this again to a different body.
So this is the third
You
time.
know, have you? Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I may even go so far as to say it's an illegal meeting because it's not on the agenda. I know it has to do with landfill, but I thought the 2 hours were set aside to discuss the landfill. What we're
Well,
gonna
we
do.
thought the opposite. We thought that they was gonna get an hour and the landfill was gonna get an hour. Pardon us. It's all about the landfill.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
the
that's-
solution,
you
this
think
is
you
the
can't say
solution
that.
to what we listened to for an hour. And it's the third time we've brought this solution.
One can make that argument, so that's why I stayed, but I think maybe that's why the others possibly left. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think this body can hear any presentation that it wants to. I don't necessarily think this is an illegal meeting, but I just wonder about the particular relevance of this presentation to this particular body is what, you know, is.
Yes, Dick?
Yeah, thank you. The 150 million, who comes up with that? You or?
Well, that's obviously, that's always a question.
We presented it 100% finance.
100% finance.
That financial model that I gave you is 100% finance, which
And
means
who's on the hook for the finance? That's what I'm asking.
We're proposing a joint venture on a 50/50 basis on the USA Bethel and the Cherokee Nation.
On 50.
Yes, sir.
I want to show you this video, which does a better job than I do. I have to get it off my mail. I left California and got here at 11 o'clock last night. And it's still not 8 o'clock my time this morning.
Well, I'm a resident of California too, so I understand about the time change.
But we made some commitments to get here. I'm sorry to hear what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's, I am too. I'm sorry that we've taken up your time.
So we'd like to have you all on board either way, that's, you know.
Yeah.
This is a project that's being done in Europe that has an animation that I'd like you to see. If I can get to my mail. Things are moving slow this morning. Must still be asleep in California. I'm probably not going to say this. I'm not just saying.
you on Verizon?
I'm working through Tether on Sprint. I have a connection, but it's not connected. I apologize for the little bit of downtime here. It'll be worth it if you can see the video. Any other questions? Any questions about the technology? I know we've presented this. This is the third time. So you've asked the questions before. It's nice to see your landfill. That's good. Because I was out there years ago. Saw them with old pictures. So we've done a good job. Done a good job. Good stewards. Okay. I don't know if we're going to get to see this or not. It's not Ted. Just keep spinning. There we go. There you go. Yeah, you have the opportunity here, since you have an existing landfill, for a tremendous business that will bring in revenue to the tribe. And if your gaming has fell off like the Morongo Nation has fell off, you probably could use the revenue.
I've got a quick question. Does it mind if I ask?
Sure,
a
go
question?
ahead.
Okay, just for my own knowledge and everything, from what I have researched and looked at this, it's new technology, but pretty much you can put just about anything other than a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Right, through this
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, you can.
Right.
They've been trying to develop it. Some of the plasmification folks have been trying to develop it. We work at the 5,000 degree level.
Right.
They've been working at the 20,000 degree level because you can get some higher nuclear waste and things in it. We haven't been interested in that market. We're interested in the local trash market. And down at 5,000 degrees, you don't get the problems with cracking crucibles and torches. So we've been a lot more successful.
So all biohazards, like from the hospitals and
Oh, yeah,
everything.
you can take, yeah,
ran through
you
this
notice on
machine.
my financial model, I put $15 a ton, but you can actually start taking in the medical
Right,
waste,
right.
20 and 30.
So medical waste from the facilities and everything can be
Yeah.
ran through this,
Yeah.
as well as taking the landfill. We could literally go take a track hoe and dig out that rock and dirt and run it through this machine.
Yeah, they're doing that right now. The facility that a few of you folks saw a year ago, we're taking rock and dirt that was dug out of the mountains of California in the 1800s.
So,
And arsenic was put in it to leach out gold.
right.
They're taking that now in the 10-ton unit in 29 pounds, and they're taking that arsenic dirt that still has gold in it, and they're getting 200 pounds of precious metal a day out of these tailings that have been considered biohazards in California for 100 years.
Was that financial report that you, or the show, was
Yeah.
that for one 10-ton unit?
That's for one 500 ton.
One 500-ton per day
Per day.
unit.
Yeah. That's what you
Which
guys
is
could use.
what we was talking about.
That's what we were talking
10-ton,
about.
you know, it didn't seem.
No, 10 ton is not enough. I'm building two 500 tons. We're just coming out of the ground right now in California.
Excuse us.
Mr. Chairman, I think to conclude, the presentation's been concluded
Yes.
substantially, so I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Very good.
Your second?
Yeah.
We adjourn?
Okay, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for coming.
This is our third time here, hopefully.
Hopefully you will get to present to the correct body.